Welcome back. Last month, one of America's most prominent radio hosts, Don Imus, was fired for using language on air that was considered to be racially insensitive. Now, one of the founding fathers of hip-hop music, Russell Simmons, has called for derogatory language in rap lyrics to be cleaned up. And his co-campaigner, Benjamin Chavis, joins me now from Washington, as does radio disc jockey Danny Neville from Dubai's Radio 1. Dr. Chavis, this is a voluntary ban that you would like to see take place on these words, yes?
Yes, it's really not a ban. You know, we don't support censorship. We support the artist's right of freedom of expression. But this is a recommendation that Russell Simmons and I made to the broadcast industry and recording industry to voluntarily self-regulate, to bleep and delete racially offensive and misogynistic terms from being heard over the airways. It doesn't really affect what the artist does, it affects what is heard over the airways, so that women and children and others who find these terms very objectionable will not be insulted or receive derogatory language over the broadcast airwaves.
And you've chosen three words in particular in your first proposal. Are there more to come, or are they the three words you most want to see voluntarily banned?
These are the three words thus far: the N word, the B word, and the H word. And of course, I must use the H and the B words, but we also included the N word because the N word is a racially derogatory term toward Black Americans, toward African Americans, actually to all people of color. And the H word and the B word are misogynistic terms showing utmost disrespect, and even actually, because, you know, misogyny means hatred of women. And so we figured that hip-hop is a great cultural phenomenon. I know Danny is there in Dubai. Hip-hop is all over the world. When you talk about hip-hop today, you're not just talking about an American phenomenon. Hip-hop is a global phenomenon, and we are strong supporters and advocates of hip-hop. But because we are strong supporters, we believe we also have a responsibility. This is about freedom of expression, but it's also about responsibility and good corporate social responsibility. One of the reasons why we're asking the industry to self-regulate itself is to prevent any type of government intervention, which we would very much oppose. We think art and artistic expression ought to be free from any kind of government censorship. But on the other hand, we also believe that artists have to be accountable for what they put out into the public sphere. Not intimidated, but accountable. It's a big difference. When we first announced our recommendations, people used the term ban or censorship, and we had to go back and re-clarify exactly what was the character and the nature of our recommendations. And quite simply, what we're trying to do is to give people a choice. There are clean versions and unclean versions of all music that's produced in America, and if somebody wants to hear an explicit version, then there's an appropriate way to get the explicit version. But over the public broadcast airways, over radio, over television, we believe that these three terms that are most objectionable and offensive, and if you listen to women and minorities, these terms are also painful and very hurtful. So we believe that over the public airways, these terms should be bleeped or deleted.
Right, let's come to Danny, joining us from Dubai. Hi there. Those words we've just been talking about, would you have problems with them in Dubai?
To be honest, David, in Dubai, we basically, born and raised in Dubai, we didn't face this kind of, this kind of upbringing. So something like the N-word in Dubai wouldn't really offend anyone on the airwaves. Censorship in Dubai hasn't really gotten to a point where they're extremely strict on the N-word. Maybe yes, the B word, the H word. Yeah, you can say that that would be offensive to people, but specifically on the N-word, there is no culture of understanding to that kind of word. So what it inflicts on people. So to be honest with you, it wouldn't make such a big difference to the to the people, to the listenership in the UAE. I mean, you definitely find the B word in a track. You definitely listen and hear an H word and an N word. But stuff like, for example, they're really strict on censorship on religion rather than more into the three words that we were talking about.
What words would you have problems with in the area, perhaps, of religion?
For example, we spoke about this before. For example, Jesus Walks by Kanye West was a track that was refused airplay in the UAE whatsoever, just because of the fact that it had Jesus in it. Now, I mean, given the benefit of the doubt, maybe they intended not to have, say, a prophet's name in the song or something like that. But on the other hand, you've got tracks by Nas, by other artists who kind of speak about the Muslim religion. So they're more detailed about religious words being in tracks more than actual offensive ones like N-word and H-word and B-word. They're not too strict on that. I can easily say that for the past 6 years, we haven't seen such a big censorship on these words at all.
Coming back to you, Dr. Chavis, has there been a good reaction to the points you've been making and the voluntary ban on the three words? Have you been encouraged by the reaction or what?
I've been very encouraged by the overwhelming favorable response from people in the industry, from people in the community. And again, we've had a good international response. With respect to what Danny said in Dubai, I can understand, but it makes the point that in different cultures and different societies, what is broadcast over the airways has to have some sensitivity, not only to the location of the broadcast, but the history of the use of language and words. It has to have great sensitivity.
Danny, thank you. Dr. Chavis, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much indeed. It's time now to say goodbye. Or that's the G word, I suppose. But that's about all for this week. My thanks to all of our guests. I hope you can join me in 7 days' time for another edition of Frost Over the World.